Will Sunbreak save Monster Hunter Rise? Well, depending on the person, the short answer is yes, but depending on the changes it makes, it could easily be no. Let me explain. So in my previous video, I talked about how Monster Hunter Rise didn't really stick with me as much as Monster Hunter World or any previous release of Monster Hunter really. To recap, Monster Hunter Rise mostly didn't mesh well with me because of its use of its end game grind in the game, or lack thereof. There was little to no reward in a lot of the hunts, like the Apex hunts and event quests. The talisman grind was pretty obnoxious to grind because 98% of the talismans you get were pretty bad. Plus, there is a huge disconnect from the talismans and the rest of the game itself. So in the end, there is no true end game grind, which is fine considering it is just the base game. Now the question is, will Sunbreak save Monster Hunter Rise? Meaning, will the end game for Sunbreak be able to last as long as the other previous releases? There were different ways Monster Hunter made their end game for each expansion. In this video, I'll mostly talk about World because I personally enjoyed Iceborne's endgame the most out of the other releases. Also, as a side note, this isn't me bashing on Sunbreak at all. I'm genuinely excited for the release, and I can't wait to experience the game for what it is, as I have with the base game. Hello everyone, my name is Skull, and welcome your faces to a brand new video on Monster Hunter Rise. I'm really excited to dive deep into this topic, most because we got Monster Hunter Sunbreak just around the corner and it's going to be incredible. We have gotten so much announced with the digital event that came out recently. Also, if you guys would like to support me more and get more videos like this that take quite a while to make, then it would mean a lot to come support me on Patreon, where you get previews and content that I'm making and an insight on future videos that I have planned. Another great way to support is buying merch that I have. Currently everything is 10% off and not going back in stock, so get it while you still can. Thank you all so much for your time. Now back to the video! So with Monster Hunter Sunbreak, there is no news on what the endgame would look like. However, there's a lot of things coming to Sunbreak that we could talk about. The new map announced is called Citadel, and it looks massive. I imagine this might work similar to the Guiding Lands, not in the sense that there'll be different areas to level up, but from the fact of a lot of new monsters will appear from this map. There are about 4 different locations on this map. There's a castle looking portion that reminds me of the castle Shrade, the ice location of the map, the wide open grass fields, then the swampy goopy portion of the map. I feel like this game would bring a lot of variety to different types of monsters in the game. Next up, we got a lot of amazing new monsters, like Astalos. And Astalos! This definitely brought a huge uproar from the community as well, and has everyone hyped, including myself. Yes! Yo, let's go! You can't just do that! Hold on! The way this monster fought in Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate was absolutely electrifying, but this fast-paced movement and electric attacks, it fits right with all the other monsters in the roster. Next up, we have Garen Golem, which is the ape-like monster attacking with both fire and water elements, crushing everything in its path. Definitely a new monster that I'm looking forward to. Then last but not least, we got the Blood Orange Bishaten, which is definitely an upgrade compared to what we had before, throwing explosive pine cones compared to the other exploding fruits in the base game. With this, it might become very annoying to fight, but I feel it gives a lot more of a gimmick that you have to be extra careful than your normal Bishaten. Since we now have the main 3 for Vampire Malzeno, Werewolf the Luna Garen, and finally Frankenstein Garen Golem, they have become announced as the Big 3, or the 3 Lords. Then with all the new Master Rank armor, Monster Hunter snuck in while they were previewing the hunts, look amazing. Even with the Gormagala-like dual blades that were shown. One day we'll get them! I swear! We will! And finally, with all this, we have a new gathering hub. And man, do I look forward to hang out with everyone in here. It seems as though it's going to be an absolute blast for this expansion, and I'm all here for it. Now with Monster Hunter expansions, they showcase a lot of new content, and most of the time giving everyone even more to do than the original base game. With Monster Hunter World, the end game for the base game was very lacking as well, but brought more variety. World brought in investigation quests, at which you can choose from a random selection of quests, and every quest gives you different rewards for decos, how many hunters can join the quest, the time limit for the quest, and how many feints you can have in that quest. Aside from the RNG to the decorations that you receive, it gives you many reasons to go back and hunt. The end game in the base game in Monster Hunter Rise, on the other hand, didn't really give that strive to go out and hunt for me. There were many quests that were fun to do, but weren't really rewarding in any way. The talisman grind felt really disconnected from the rest of the game, where you would have to go out a number of hunts to get them revealed, and most of the time, they weren't really the best either. The Apex hunts were not really rewarding as well. Sure, completing a tough hunt will feel amazing, but what's going to get you to go back for more? There wasn't really much to do for endgame for Monster Hunter Rise that felt rewarding enough for me to pour countless hours on. I hope that for Sunbreak there'll be lots to do for the endgame, because I know for a fact that my journey through the expansion is going to be amazing regardless of what the endgame brings. Also, this isn't me saying that the endgame of any game tells me of my experience and how I enjoy it, because I really enjoy Monster Hunter Rise and what it brought to the table. I just want to continuously play the game with many reasons to keep going. There are many things I hope Sunbreak brings to the table, and I guess here's my wish list for the changes from the base game of Monster Hunter Rise. From what we discussed before, I hope they change the way that talismans are able to be grinded up. Since they already made it so that decorations you would have to craft, like in previous releases, it would make sense to bring it back to where you would grind talismans from monsters. That way, after every hunt, you would get a variety of talismans to choose from. The RNG doesn't really need to be changed since you would get a set of them after every hunt. It would give more incentive to hunt different monsters than having to wait for someone to give them to you after a certain amount of hunts in a loot box sort of fashion. I would love for there to be more of a reason to hunt different Apex monsters. There isn't any reason to hunt them other than they are a difficult fight. More materials to craft talismans. This makes Apex hunts a one and done hunt. No big reason to go back and hunt for more. I would love for there to be different armor or weapons to get from the Apexes. I don't want to be broken like the Fatalis armor in Monster Hunter World Iceborne, but powerful enough to use in different situations. Imagine a different looking armor you could use for layered. It would be amazing. Then there are also layered weapons. I feel like it's just a matter of time to include them since we get a taste of it with the Rampage weapons in the base game. Maybe like World, they could also include a random monster list that Monster Hunter World and Iceborne had. It brought so much more variety and different kinds of hunts you could do, as well as different challenges you can face. With these changes, it will vastly improve the way endgame works in Monster Hunter, and would appear to be more enjoyable, at least for me, for the future of Sunbreak. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is going to be something incredible, and something that I will enjoy like I have every other Monster Hunter release. Monster Hunter games have always been an enjoyable experience, with the different monsters that you hunt, and the journey along the way. With a hunter you created, and the different armor and weapons you have crafted to fight against your next monster. They have done this without fail for every release, and it is amazing to see. This video is mostly talking about the endgame for Monster Hunter Sunbreak and seeing what it could look like. With the different changes that I have given, I feel like that this will make Sunbreak's endgame that much more amazing. The main topic is, will the expansion for Monster Hunter Sunbreak save the base game for Monster Hunter Rise? I feel like the answer is mostly dependent on the individual playing the game. There are a lot of people that felt like Rise has been an incredible experience so far with the content they have been given. For the mass majority, or at least from what I've seen, it feels like there's a lot of content in Monster Hunter Rise, but there's little to no rewards into all the things given to us. I have said this before, but the end game in any video game is how you, the individual, make it to be. Craft every single armor piece, master every weapon, hunt a certain type of monster X amount of times. There's an infinite amount of ways to make your own end game in any video game, or in this case, Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Sunbreak's endgame might end up being the same as where Monster Hunter Rise left off, where we continue to go back and check on what we got for the talismans and give us little reason to hunt the different monsters other than the fact that they are amazing hunts. We will see, but for me, will Monster Hunter Sunbreak save Rise? If they make changes to give it a proper endgame, then yes. But if they don't make any changes from Rise, then no. It's all really going to come down to when we get Sunbreak in our hands and play it. And I can't wait for this game to be released. I just know that in the end, I will enjoy this experience as I have with the previous games. Thank you all so much for watching. If you all enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. Also, let me know how you feel about Monster Hunter Sunbreak. Are you excited to experience the expansion and see what's in store? Did you enjoy Monster Hunter Rise's endgame? What changes do you feel needs to be made to make Sunbreak that much more enjoyable? I feel like these questions are fun to ask and have a discussion about. Like with any game, I won't set my expectations high because, well, it will just ruin my experience in the end if something doesn't come true, and that's totally fine. Regardless, I would love to hear from you all. and I will see all of your faces in the next video. Goodbye.
You won't feel